All right, the video was taken down, but we are re-uploading it again for Thursday night football between the 49ers and the Seahawks. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back in to another episode for Just a Bet Outside. I am your host, Steven, and we're back to talk some more football. I am ready to roll. I'm excited for Thursday night football, especially since it's my team playing, but we'll go over that in a bit. Last couple weekends, we've won over 8 units. We've been absolutely scorching hot. Let's see if we can keep that rolling. So we're going to go over the recap of Monday Night Football in just a bit, but just a quick reminder, any graphics you see in this video and in the future are from an app called OUTLIER. You guys know the deal. I know some people that have been using it that's really been helpful for them. If you want to be a long-term profitable sports bettor, I believe that having tools like OUTLIER will really help it and change the game for you, especially save some time with your research help as well. So click that link below. You get the free 7-day free trial. So I'm ready to get into it, but I got an NFL fun fact for you. So here we go. It actually has to do with last Sunday. Sunday was the longest day of NFL football ever. 15 hours and 27 minutes it lasted. I would assume that's because of the millions and millions and millions of penalties that we see every game, it seems like. But anyways, just a little fun fact. So in this video, we're going to recap Monday Night Football, and that was a beauty. And then we're going to preview and give our best bets. I got two of them for you for the 49ers versus the Seahawks in an NFC West showdown. And we'll finish it with that recap. So hit that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment below. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button as we are on our way to 30,000 subscribers. This community is freaking awesome. But let's get into it. And it starts with the recap. All right, there it is. A nice, beautiful 2-0 day. Travis Kelce over 55.5 receiving yards. He crushed this line, guys. He had like 30 on the first drive. You just knew it was going to be a good day for Mr. Swift, and we got the job done. This second one was absolutely stressful. He had one that was almost looked like a run, but it was like a little shovel pass that only went 2 yards anyway, so it would have been heartbreaking. But then on at the 3-yard line, he gets a reverse for a 3-yard touchdown run, and we go over by the hook. It was beautiful. The Discord went nuts. It was fun. Nice little late night cash there. So on the season, 42-38, up 3.60 units, digging out of that hole, that terrible week 2 that we had. But that's what we got. If you're looking for the complete breakdown every Sunday night, we do that in our Monday Night Football video with player props, game bets, so you kind of know how we're doing on each one. But that's the recap, and now it is time for Thursday Night Football. All right, Week 6 kicks off at Lumen Field in Seattle. The Seahawks hosting the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers minus 3.5. Total in this game is 48.5. Let's talk notes, trends, injuries, all that before we get to the two best bets. These two teams are coming off horrendous performances last weekend, especially my Seattle Seahawks. They couldn't stop a Giants offense that didn't have Singletary or Malik Neighbors. And then the 49ers blow yet another lead in a divisional game as they lose to the Arizona Cardinals. Hawks coming in at 3-2 after starting 3-0. 49ers coming in at a surprising 2-3 this year. Some trends. 49ers have beaten the Seahawks by at least 8 points in 5 straight games. That one wasn't fun to write, I'll tell you that. 49ers have won 5 straight games versus Seahawks. 4-1 ATS in those 5. Again, Seahawks trends are a little questionable for me because it was Pete Carroll running a ton of type zone defenses and just a whole different style than Mike McDonald is giving us. So just keep that in mind. But the 49ers have absolutely owned us lately, although the 49ers have been one of the best teams in the NFL, so that makes sense. But Seahawks have had the worst defense in the league and EPA per play allowed in the last 2 weeks. And those were really the last 2 weeks were the only 2 games they faced against competent offenses. As you guys know, the first 3 weeks were all against horrendous quarterback play. And then injuries. Seahawks are struggling with injuries on the defensive end. Nwosu, he is out. Safety Julian Love, questionable. First-round D tackle Byron Murphy is out. And our starting DB, the number 2 DB, Reek Woolen, will be out in this game as well. 49ers, Fred Warner's the big one. Obviously, the captain on that defense, he is questionable. George Kittle is questionable with ribs. Kicker Jake Moody is out, and the safety Hufanga, who's been pretty good for them, he is out for this game as well. So lots of injuries to deal with. If I had to make a game bet, my two bets are player props. So if I had to make one, honestly, I'd probably go 49ers team total over 24.5. As for a side, it's tough. I honestly want to say the 49ers are going to find their rhythm and all that, but with how we looked last week, you never know. It's week to week with NFL, but both teams haven't looked great, but the 49ers have looked better than the Seahawks. Seahawks, again, anytime they face a competent offense, they have been struggling so far, so I'd probably lean 49ers. But In this game, I got two bets. The first one is a Seattle Seahawks. Give me Kenneth Walker over 19.5 receiving yards at minus 120 on DraftKings. Per usual on primetime, I'm going to give you two bets that are both a half unit. I've been more cautious taking receiving props with running backs because they just seem pretty volatile. It's kind of hit or miss sometimes, but this one for me is just too good to pass up. I've been watching Hawks games lately, obviously, since they are my favorite team. I watch everybody anyways. But he's been a big part of this passing game. Kenneth Walker has. And if you looked at everything that Coach Mack and everyone says after the game, they said Kenneth Walker needs to get the ball more. That's just flat out, and he does because he didn't touch the ball enough in their blowout loss. It wasn't a blowout loss. It was an ugly loss to the Giants last week. But he did lead the team in target with 8 targets. So that was pretty good. They got him the ball in the passing game, just not necessarily the running game. He turned that into 7 receptions for 57 yards. So let's take a look at Outlier now in this matchup and just kind of go over some numbers here, obviously. So in 2024, he's only played 3 games, so he's over in 2 of 3 starts so far, and 2 straight since his return from injury. And honestly, as you guys can tell, he's been crushing this line. It just hasn't even been close. And then let's look at the matchup over there on the right. If you look at the 49ers, and we already have versus running backs, they're 26 in allowing receiving yards to running backs. It's a great matchup. If Warner is out, that should help even more. We'll go over the running backs that have faced the 49ers in just a little bit, but let's go down to the target share now. And we get that right there. As you can see, he had a 17% target share last week. That's pretty good for a running back when you only need 20 yards here. And then we scroll down to the insight because it always gives these kind of things on games, player props, everything. But you can see he's gone over this in 4 of the last 5 home games as well. So now let's talk about the Seahawks offense in general. Last 2 weeks, total targets. Metcalf, 19 targets. JSN, 19. Lockett, 15. Walker, 13. Yes, all I need, honestly, I only need a few targets. I think all we need is 20 yards. So obviously they're receivers, but he has 2 less targets than Tyler Lockett. They are feeding him the ball in the passing game. Any pass rush, they're going to dump it off to him. Some screen passes. Again, 20 yards is not asking a lot for a guy that's just flown over this in the last 2 weeks. They want to get him more touches. They said not more carries. They want to get him more touches. But now let's talk running backs that have faced the 49ers lately this season. Breece Hall, 5 catches, 39 receiving yards. Aaron Jones, 5 for 36. Kyren Williams, 2 for 27. Antonio Gibson, 3 for 67 yards, gave up some big plays. James Conner, 2 for 14, the only one to not go over, and he is not a pass-catching running back. I can't really talk today. But 2 is actually pretty good, 2 catches for him. He had like 1 catch for 3 straight games before that. So anybody who can be a participant in the passing game, those running backs have gone well over this line. I expect Kenneth Walker to do the same. And then game script-wise, I expect the Hawks to at least be playing competitive or playing from behind, which is going to help in the passing game. Kenneth Walker will be out there, but this is a possible ladder spot. Maybe I throw a quarter unit or half unit on something like 30-plus receiving yards as well. I haven't decided yet, but I like Kenneth Walker over 19.5 receiving yards as my first best bet. And now my second one. We're going to the other side to a running back. Jordan Mason over 17.5 rush attempts at minus 125 on DraftKings. Half unit play. I almost went with his over rushing yards, but I like this attempts more. So he's over this in 4 of 5 starts so far this year. His only miss was last week, and Purdy threw it 35 times. And then they had a backup running back who carried the ball 5 times. I'm going to guess just to keep Mason a little bit fresh, but that was the only time he hasn't gone over. And he's flown over this line the first 4 weeks, 20-plus carries in 3 of those 4. So it's not like he's just barely getting 18 carries a game or anything like that. And then the Seahawks have really struggled versus the run. Versus the Giants, how about 18 carries for 129 yards to Tyrone Tracy? Lions, 14 for 78 for Gibbs, 12 for 40 versus Monty, so that's another 26 carries. Even the Patriots earlier this year, Stevenson and Gibson combined for 32 carries for 177 yards. I know I'm not taking yards, I'm taking rush attempts. But if you can successfully run on the Seahawks, or anybody really in the NFL, they are going to continue to run the ball because that's the best way to move the ball, really wear down the defense, set up play action and all that. So I think Mason is going to be successful on the ground, which means I think he's going to get a ton of carries in this one. I expect Shanahan to just run it down our throats, get the win, or try to get the win that way at least. I just think it's a nice buy low spot. I think this line should be 18.5, maybe even 19.5, just because of his 14 carry game last week. But like I talked about, as for the game script, we're expecting the 49ers and Seahawks to either be in a competitive game or for the 49ers to play from ahead. And either way, that means a good game script for Mr. Mason to get some more. If you look at Purdy's pass attempts line also, it's juiced to the under of 31.5. So they're thinking around 30, maybe a little less. And then we got Reek Woolen out, Byron Murphy out. I think the Seahawks defense is going to struggle because they do against any competent offense so far, it looks like. And I expect a lot of points and a lot of plays from the 49ers. I think 17.5 is just too low for him. So give me Jordan Mason over 17.5 rush attempts for the 5th time in 6 games this season. So that's what we got. 2 running back props on Thursday Night Football. Of course, I'll be rooting on my Hawks. Hopefully we can get a win. But before we get out of here, let's check out the recap. All right, there it is. We are going with 2 running back props for Thursday Night Football. Give me Kenneth Walker over 19.5 receiving yards for a half unit. If you want to ladder it again, maybe up to 30-plus yards. I don't mind that either. Jordan Mason over 17.5 rush attempts, minus 125 on DraftKings. Another half unit play. Absolutely love these ones. Hopefully we can get 2 winners to start out Week 6. And, of course, Thursday night video will be for all the game bets for Week 6, and then Friday night will be our NFL player props. As we have been smoking hot, we'll have another ladder parlay in there as well. But thank you guys for watching. Again, hit that like button if you haven't already. Hope you have a great Thursday, and we'll talk to you soon.